G'day and welcome back to the Aussie Sports Show. Today's installment is episode 1 or week 1 of 24 in the NBA regular season, obviously with about 9 weeks after that to follow with the play-in and playoffs. A pretty eventful week, Liam.
Yeah, that's definitely that to say the least. So I'll get stuck into it, but number one, we'll go with Steph Curry. He's off to a great start, him and the Warriors. Got a triple-double in his first game, and as he stated, I played like ass tonight. Got the win over the Lakers on opening night. He then dropped 45 and 10 and 8 for 13 from three against the Clippers, and today dropped 27, 7 and 10 against the Grizzlies. So he's averaging 31, 9 and 7 through the first three games, and he's looking very scary. If he can keep this up, he's probably going to be in the MVP candidates, no doubt. And one player we should touch on just as we're going through the Warriors is a bloke named Jordan Poole. We saw him in the preseason. He looked very good, but the first three games, he's averaging 17 points. It'd be interesting to see what happens to him when Klay Thompson returns in mid-December to January, whether he stays in the starting lineup and they push Klay down to the 3, or they have to push Jordan Poole to the bench to become off as the 6th man maybe. But yeah, he's absolutely obsession. The Warriors are 3-0. It's going to be scary to see if Klay can come back and can be what he was before he got injured. They're going to be a very scary team, to say the least. So yeah, great start for Warriors fans, and you should be very excited for the team you're putting on the court so far this season.
Absolutely. Moving on to our point number 2, and it is a bloke that goes by the name of Chris Paul, CP3, the point guard, whatever you want to call him. He's very old at this point. He's 36, almost 37, not quite almost, 37 next year. But he just joined the club, and he owns the club because he's the only one in the club of 20,000 points and 10,000 assists. He's the first player to ever do it. Incredible stat. This season so far, he's averaging the 14 points and 11.7 assists, so just under 12 on 50% field goal. So this man just doesn't seem to age, does he? He's
No.
still probably a top 5 point guard in the league in terms of like pure point guard. He's probably top 5 in the league. I can't fault any of his game. So congratulations to Chris Paul.
Yeah, very good. We'll now move on to the Lakers drama. We all know that they started pretty poorly, 0-2, but they finally got their first win today against the Grizzlies. They got blown out by the Suns, lost to the Warriors, and it all pretty much started when we saw a scuffle on the bench between Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard. After a play, they didn't quite agree, and they started shoving and pushing each other. So the chemistry there, people were questioning the chemistry, whether it's there, whether they are friends or it was straight beef. But they ended up settling it, and they said that the love is still there. And I think there's a bit of an overreaction, people are saying, to the start of the season. I think they just need to build the chemistry. We all know that LeBron and Westbrook, people say that LeBron needed a shooter and Westbrook isn't quite that, but I feel like they just need to build the chemistry, get used to how they play with each other. And I feel like later in the season, once they get their clicking, they can go on a roll. So again, I don't think rule them out just as yet. 1 and 2 is obviously 3 games in first week, as you said, 24 weeks. So it's got a long time, to process what's going on and just get their act together. But yeah, it was worrying, but I still think don't count them out at all. Keeping in the back of your mind that the team that have got LeBron, the GOAT for me. So yeah, just don't count them out just yet.
I tend to agree. I think the Lakers are still a very much so of a threat. They, as you said, they didn't have the best start. We know that Westbrook's been a little bit average, more than a little bit. He's been very average, but I still think that they're probably top 2 title favorites. Moving on to we'll touch on the Charlotte Hornets first. Starting 3-0, their first 3-0 start in franchise history. They're currently second in the Eastern Conference, behind the Chicago Bulls, I do believe. What a start. I don't think you saw this coming. I definitely didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
As I said, their first 3-0 start in franchise history, led by LaMelo, who averages the 22, the 6, and the 2.3 steals. And just on the Bulls, they are fun for the first time in 5 years. And they're also 3-0 for the first time since the 2016/2017 season. Levine looks incredible with his 26 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and he's shooting ridiculously well. 52% from the field, 45 from 3, 94% from the line. Lonzo Ball has been exceptional as well. He's averaging the 14, 2 steals a game, 5 assists, 6.5 rebounds, shooting 38% from 3, which to date is his career best. Obviously, only 3 games. Don't get carried away. But the Bulls just look scary. I'm scared to play them. And DeMar DeRozan as well has been a little bit down compared to previous years, possibly so far to start the season. He normally starts the season exceptional and drops off, but he has averaged the 21 points, 1 steal, 4 assists, 6 rebounds. He's not a known 3-point shooter. We know that, but he doesn't need to be because the rest of the floor can stretch. So he's doing exceptionally well, and the Bulls are a very, very fun basketball team to watch.
Yeah, I agree. And probably the most important thing to start off is that the chemistry is there. People probably might have doubted the chemistry, but they've come out and they look absolutely like they've played with each other for 2 seasons. Caruso's catching lobs he's always done. He's absolutely absurd. I think Lonzo picked up a triple-double a couple of nights ago, so he's just looking absolutely amazing. And the Bulls, as you said, are very scary. I'm scared for my team to play them. So, we'll go for the Bulls. We'll now move on to the biggest drama in the NBA in the last month. And it revolves around a bloke named Ben Simmons. He's been kicked out of practice. He's been suspended. And now come in that his manager said there's going to be no trade until at least mid-December at the earliest. The team is just trying to work through his problems, but I think Joel Embiid announced to the Sixers crowd, he's still part of us, he's still a brother, and that the love is still all there. And he also said to the team that he's got, I think, a sore back, and that's why he's not in the right head mindset to be playing for them. And is he really injured, or is he just saying this just to avoid getting out of playing?
As Aussies, I think we have defended Simmons for a year too long.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong mentally with him. I'll never say that about anyone. We never know what anyone's going through.
Yeah.
But why did he come out with this excuse a day before the season started?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what doesn't quite.
Yeah, that's fishy.
If that's really his excuse for not playing, why was this not made clear back in July when he first said that he wanted out?
Exactly.
It just doesn't click very well. And yes, Sixers fans have given him an appalling time. They haven't been very kind. The organization hasn't been very kind, but he's made it a lot harder on himself. I don't really think he's actually injured. I sort of just think he's trying to do whatever he can. Now on to the next bit of drama, and it involves the Nets primary point guard. They have about 4 in Kyrie Irving. What on earth is going on? That is a flat earth reference too. What on earth is going on? He's single-handedly tearing them apart without directly trying to. And look, the Nets have openly expressed that if the right trade comes up, similar to the Ben Simmons scenario, they're going to say yes. And I think that's the right process with this. He's not going to help you in games. He's a bit of a locker room fanatic. Doesn't really know what's going on. He's a bit left-minded.
Yeah.
And look, he's allowed to have his opinion. He's allowed to have his opinion on the vax. Shouldn't be enforced, sure, whatever. But does he want to play basketball or not? Because if he does, he's got to get it. It's black and white. Simple as that. I really just think he's dragging it on a little bit more than he should.
Yeah. We also saw today that Nets fans were chanting, let Kyrie play outside the Barclays Center. So clearly they want to see him play. But again, if he really wants to play basketball, the vaccine is the only answer. And one more thing about Kyrie Irving. I'm sorry to drag it on, but sources are saying that the NBA had him in the top 75 of all time list. But again, they dropped him out of it. And people are speculating it's because he didn't get the vaccine, because he's making all this drama. But I don't know. I still think it's kind of low that, top 75 list. It's a great honor. And to leave somebody out because they didn't get a vaccine, I feel like is just very low with the NBA. And if it is true, I feel like Kyrie Irving should be very disappointed. And no doubt I am if it's true. But again, it is what it is. We'll move on to some of today's stats and go through some of the games. And new rookie from Australia, Josh Giddey, has started very strongly with OKC, and today he proved it yet again. He dropped 19 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 steals yet again. Unfortunately, I lost to the Sixers, but he is looking very good. He's been starting, I believe, the first 3 games. So, he's looking very strong.
He is a smoky for Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. Maybe a little bit of a big call, but he is he's probably a top 5. He had a lot of potential. As Aussie fans, we obviously got a lot to see in the NBL of him last season. We're also very keen NBL fans, which will be coming over summer, but we got to see a lot of him.
Yeah.
And we saw what he could bring. It's just in the NBL, the question was, could he transition that to the NBA and could he find consistency? Because he struggled a lot with that in the NBL. And I think he has a lot more potential to do that than what at least I initially thought. And I think, honestly, he could become a top 10 guard in the league one day. And that's a pretty good effort to do.
But he has the potential, as he just said.
He sure does. He's shown it. I don't really have much else to add, but he's going to be good. It's just a matter of when can he keep that consistency up. Moving on to another one of today's games. There's a lot of crazy stat lines over the last couple of days, at least. In Seth Curry, not Steph's brother, Seth, couple years younger, actually, off the top of my head. He today dropped 23 points in the opening quarter, if my sources are correct, including 6 threes in the opening quarter alone against Josh Giddey and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And he also dropped 23 points against the Nets a few days ago. He's shooting about 73% from 3, 73 or 75, something like that. Obviously, through 3 games, it's not a big sample size, but he's made 13.
Yeah.
So he's probably, if the math, probably 13 of roughly 17 or 18.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's very consistent to start off.
That is very, very good. And it's exactly what the Sixers need. They need outside shooters to surround the likes of Embiid and possibly Simmons if he ever does romantically come back, which won't happen.
Yeah. We'll now move on to another Aussie, fan favorite Aussie by most, Patty Mills. He started his first 2 games 10 for 10, and I believe it was the NBA record for most consecutive threes made on a new team. I believe that is what it was. But unfortunately, today he shot 1 for 6. Unfortunately, that stat went away, but still a great start. He shot 7 for 7, I believe, in their opening night match against Milwaukee, and he absolutely looked just absolutely insane. So, coming off the bench, I believe at the moment, would not be surprised if he starts a few games, especially with Kyrie Irving not playing yet. So, yeah, again, a very solid start for Patty Mills.
For sure. Now, another crazy stat line from today. Cole Anthony of the Orlando Magic. He had a little bit of a quiet rookie season. He was, before college, the number one ranked high school prospect, so protected to go number one before their college season. And he had a quiet rookie season. But today he had the 29 points and a crazy 16 rebounds at point guard, which is not often done. It can be done sometimes. I think Steph's career high is 18 or something stupid. But 16 rebounds at point guard in a second year is not too shabby. And he's only 6'4", maybe.
I believe so, yeah.
So, yeah, and 8 assists as well. So he's very close to a triple-double. And they still lost by 30-something points, as the Orlando Magic have done over the past 10 or so years of that franchise. Is it a breakout game?
Potentially. I would not blame him at all. He's looking good like the Magic have. Him and Jalen Suggs. Suggs have been a bit quiet so far, but again, if they can get to clicking, the Magic can be an exciting team. Cole Anthony can be exciting when he wants to, and we've seen what Jalen Suggs can do. So, yeah, no doubt. I reckon it could be a breakout game, maybe even a breakout season. And, yeah, hopefully he does very good. But now move on to an old head of the league, and LA seems absolutely adore him so far, and that is Carmelo Anthony. Today moved up to 9th on the all-time scoring list, passing Moses Malone after his 28-point performance today against the Grizzlies. He's looked solid through the first 3 games. He's looked like he can be a very good asset for the Lakers. I believe off the bench he has been coming up. I don't think he is starting. He might sneak into the starting lineup here and there, but I don't really see it. But again, he's looked like he doesn't age. He's like LeBron. He still has what he has been the last few years on the Blazers. He can shoot, and he can drive, he can pass. He can just do everything the Lakers need. And I feel like he might be a bit of a key to the Lakers' chemistry and getting them back on track. Him and LeBron have been also best mates for pretty much the whole career through college. So no doubt, I feel like he can be a big key to getting this Lakers team back on track.
Yeah, for sure. Just the last point for today's installment or episode, and it's Paul George and the LA Clippers. Now, 2 totally different sides of the narrative. We'll go to the Clippers first, who they're 0-2. First game was against second game maybe was against the Warriors, which was an elite game.
Yeah,
I watched every minute and it was outstanding. And then they played the Grizzlies. They lost a game they probably should have won.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have won convincingly. The Grizzlies are a fun, exciting young team who are 2-1. But they probably should have been in this a little bit more than what they were.
Yeah, I agree.
They lost it by 6 points. But again, they shouldn't have lost it. And then you go to the flip side and you have a bloke called Paul George who's leading your team in almost every single stat except blocks.
Yeah.
He's leading them in points at 35 per game. He's leading them in rebounds at 10.5 a game. He's leading them assists at 5. He's leading them at steals at 2. He doesn't average a block, and he's also leading them in turnovers, but that's a funny stat. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And he's shooting 56 from the field, 43 from 3-point, and 100% from the line. I told you Paul George is a smoky for MVP, and it's coming true.
It is. We talked about that the Clippers need to have a good record throughout the season because they're also going to get Kawhi back for playoffs. And I feel like they need to get that good record so they're not on the brink for elimination first round. Who knows? Kawhi might have a setback and he might not be able to play in the first round and they might get eliminated and his season just goes to absolute poo. So, Paul George, he's looked absolutely insane, as you said, averaging 35. But I feel like they need to get people around him to help him out. He can't do it all on his own. We see Reggie Jackson dropped 17 in the game against the Grizzlies. But again, no real standouts apart from Bledsoe. He had 12, but again, that's not going to win you games in the starting lineup. So, they need to build the chemistry and get that good record. So Kawhi can come back. He's not going to be 100% when he comes back. I mean, it's going to take him a few games to come back in. So they need to be somewhat competitive and not drop to 7th, 8th seed, get in the play-in, and who knows, they may lose that. So they need to get their act together and get a good record going into the playoffs.
All right, I think that may just about wrap it up, unless you have anything else to add.
No, I'm all done.
Oh, sweet. So thank you all for watching and listening, wherever that may be, for today's installment. Catch us next week for your NBA fans for the Week 2 NBA season review. Catch us Wednesday for all the cricket fans for our cricket podcast on Australia's first game and preview the second game, and also Friday for a little bit of an AFL video on top of that. So thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you then.
See ya.